98% similarity with chimpanzee myth. You have probably heard the claim that human DNA is 98% similar to that of chimpanzees. However, this is a typical case of scientific reporting being more friendly to evolution than the actual paper. It ignores several factors that the original paper itself mentions that show the claim is bogus as reported. This is claimed despite the fact that there are significant differences even visually, the most obvious of which is the fact that chimpanzees, gorillas, and orangutans have an additional chromosome. The claim is made that our chromosome 2 resulted from a chromosome fusion event. This is a discussion for another video. The original paper. Now nothing defeats a good evolutionary argument like the original paper. The 98% similarity figure is based on a comparison only of parts of human and chimpanzee DNA that can be easily aligned. Then, counting only those parts that are single nucleotide differences, called substitutions, you get about 98.77% similarity. However, it does not end there. When you include insertions and deletions, the similarity drops by 3%, giving us a similarity of only about 95.77%. These indels are segments where you insert one or more nucleotides or delete one or more nucleotide from the compared sequence. However, it gets worse for the evolutionary interpretation because the segments that are easily aligned exclude 18% of the chimpanzee genome and 25% of the human genome that do not align. So, these calculations are based on only 75% to 82% of both genomes. Because the chimpanzee genome is actually smaller than the human genome, 18% of the chimpanzee genome is equivalent to 16.74% of the human genome. When this fact is taken into consideration, the maximum similarity that can actually exist between human and chimpanzee genomes is 87.51%. Why do evolutionists cite the 98% figure? So why do evolutionists cite the 98% figure as if it were the actual degree of similarity between the DNA of humans and chimps? In most cases, it is ignorance. They have never read the actual paper. As a result, the only way they know this figure is by reading it in articles and seeing in videos. The folks who have fallen into this category are pretty much victims of those who are pushing this idea. Creationists of doing. The main source of their guilt in this regard is not bothering to check the original source material, but just accepting a science reporting article on blind faith. Ironically, this is something that they frequently accuse. Those who should know better. However, what about those who should know better because they have read the original paper but still report the 98% figure? One reason would be that they are so biased that all they actually see is the 98% figure, and anything else just goes over their head. The other possibility is that the 98% similarity figure has such great propaganda value that they cannot resist repeating it as if it were true, despite knowing that it is not. Anyone who falls under this category is simply lying through their teeth. In conclusion, the basis of the 98% similarity figure uses the parts of the human and chimp genomes that easily align, while only counting substitutions and ignoring insertions and deletions. The simple fact of the matter is that the human and chimpanzee genomes are nowhere near as similar as evolutionists claim. This figure, however, has such great propaganda value that even those who know better apparently cannot resist the urge to use it.